In the bustling heart of New York City, where dreams were made and broken, lived Sarah Miller, a wedding planner renowned for her impeccable taste and flawless execution. Sarah had spent years building her reputation from the ground up, creating fairy tale weddings for couples all over the city. Despite being surrounded by love and romance daily, Sarah was a skeptic. Her parents' messy divorce and a series of failed relationships had left her jaded. She didn't believe in true love. To her, it was nothing more than a well-choreographed event she could perfect for others. Sarah's latest project was her biggest yet, the wedding of socialite Emma Sinclair. Emma's wedding was to be the event of the year, and Sarah was determined to make it her masterpiece. The bride-to-be was a whirlwind of demands and changes, keeping Sarah on her toes and leaving her little time for anything else. Meanwhile, in a different part of the city, Blake Thompson was living a life of success and fulfillment. A talented architect in his mid-30s, Blake had a passion for designing buildings that married form and function. His calm demeanor and thoughtful approach to life had won him the admiration of many, including his fiancée, Emma Sinclair. Blake had met Emma at a charity gala, and their whirlwind romance had culminated in a proposal that had seemed right at the time. Blake, however, was beginning to have doubts. The closer the wedding date approached, the more he realized how different he and Emma were. Their priorities, their visions for the future, even their ideas of what constituted a good relationship, seemed to be at odds. Despite his doubts, Blake pushed forward, thinking it was just pre-wedding jitters. The day Sarah met Blake was a turning point neither of them saw coming. It was a sunny Wednesday afternoon, and Sarah was at a high-end florist, finalizing the arrangements for Emma's big day. Blake walked in, intending to surprise Emma with an extra touch of floral elegance. He saw Sarah meticulously inspecting the arrangements and, intrigued by her dedication, approached her. Sarah recognized Blake from the engagement photos she had been using to plan the wedding. Meeting him in person, she was struck by his genuine demeanor and the calm, warm energy he exuded. Blake, on the other hand, found himself captivated by Sarah's attention to detail and her no-nonsense attitude. She was unlike anyone he had ever met, and he found himself wanting to know more about her. Over the next few weeks, their paths crossed frequently. Blake often accompanied Emma to the planning sessions, trying to be a supportive fiancé despite his growing reservations. Each encounter with Sarah left him more conflicted. He admired her professionalism, her ability to handle Emma's often unreasonable demands with grace, and the spark of passion he saw when she spoke about her work. It was a passion he realized he had never seen in Emma. Sarah, though committed to her work, found herself increasingly distracted by Blake. His thoughtful gestures, his quiet strength, and the way he seemed genuinely interested in her thoughts and opinions began to chip away at her skepticism about love. She found herself looking forward to their interactions, even though she knew it was unprofessional and complicated. One particularly stressful day, Sarah had to coordinate a last-minute change in the venue decor. Emma was panicking, and Blake stepped in to help calm her down. Watching Blake soothe Emma with such patience and kindness, Sarah felt a pang of something unfamiliar. It wasn't just admiration. It was something deeper, something she had convinced herself didn't exist. As the weeks rolled on, the connection between Sarah and Blake grew stronger. They shared stolen glances, unspoken understandings, and a chemistry that neither could deny. Blake's doubts about his upcoming marriage intensified, while Sarah struggled with her growing feelings for a man who was about to marry her client. The wedding preparations continued, with Sarah pouring all her efforts into creating the perfect event, even as her heart grew heavier. Blake, caught in a whirlwind of expectations and emotions, found himself questioning not just his impending marriage, but his beliefs about love and destiny. Sarah's professional world and personal feelings collided in a way she had never experienced. As the wedding day approached, the weight of her emotions and the complexity of the situation became almost unbearable. She was a wedding planner who didn't believe in true love falling for the groom of her biggest client. It was a dilemma that no amount of planning could resolve. As the wedding day loomed, the tension between Sarah and Blake became palpable. Their unspoken feelings hung heavy in the air, adding an undercurrent of emotional complexity to every interaction. Sarah threw herself into her work, determined to create a flawless event despite the turmoil inside her. Blake, meanwhile, grappled with his growing doubts about marrying Emma and his undeniable feelings for Sarah. The night before the wedding, Blake found himself alone in his apartment, reflecting on the whirlwind of events that had led him to this point. The life he envisioned with Emma felt increasingly like a distant dream, overshadowed by the reality of their differences and his profound connection with Sarah. He knew he had to make a decision, one that would change the course of his life and affect everyone involved. On the morning of the wedding, the venue was a hive of activity. Sarah moved through the chaos with her usual efficiency, directing staff, arranging flowers, and ensuring every detail was perfect. Her heart, however, was in turmoil. She had fallen for the groom, and today she was helping him marry someone else. Blake arrived at the venue, his heart heavy with the decision he had made. He couldn't go through with the wedding. He realized that marrying Emma would be a mistake, not just for him, but for her as well. She deserved someone who loved her completely, without hesitation or doubt. And he deserved to be with someone who understood him, someone like Sarah. Just hours before the ceremony, Blake found Emma in the bridal suite. He gently explained his feelings, his doubts, and his growing affection for someone else. Emma, though hurt and shocked, sensed the truth in his words. She had her own reservations, her own fears about their future. Together, they agreed it was better to end things now, before vows were exchanged and lives were irrevocably intertwined. Meanwhile, Sarah was in the main hall, making final adjustments to the decor. She was interrupted by one of her assistants, who informed her that the wedding was off. Emma and Blake had called it quits. Shocked and bewildered, Sarah sought out Blake, needing to understand what had happened. She found him in the garden, a quiet area away from the bustling preparations. Blake looked up as she approached, his expression a mix of relief and determination. He explained everything, from his growing doubts about his relationship with Emma to his undeniable feelings for Sarah. He told her how he couldn't go through with the wedding knowing that his heart belonged elsewhere. Sarah's heart raced as she listened. She felt a surge of relief, hope, and a spark of happiness she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. Blake's confession mirrored her own feelings, and for the first time, she allowed herself to believe in the possibility of true love. In the days that followed, Sarah and Blake took things slowly. They spent time together, away from the chaos of wedding planning and societal expectations. They went on long walks, shared quiet dinners, and talked about their hopes and dreams. Their connection deepened, built on a foundation of mutual respect, understanding, and genuine affection. Sarah, who had spent years orchestrating perfect weddings for others, found herself falling in love in the most unexpected way. Blake, who had doubted the existence of true love, discovered it in the heart of the woman who had once been just his wedding planner. Their journey wasn't without its challenges, but they faced them together, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. Months later, on a sunny afternoon, Blake and Sarah found themselves back at the garden where they had first confessed their feelings. This time, however, it was for a different kind of event. Surrounded by close friends and family, they exchanged vows, promising to love and support each other through all of life's adventures. As they looked into each other's eyes, they knew they had found something rare and beautiful. Their love story, born from a seemingly impossible situation, had defied the odds. Sarah, once a skeptic of true love, had found it in the most unexpected place. Blake, who had nearly settled for less, had found the person who truly understood him. Their wedding was simple, yet perfect, a celebration of their journey and the love they had found. As they danced under the stars, surrounded by those who had supported them, Sarah and Blake knew that their story was just beginning. They had navigated the chaos of wedding planning, overcome their doubts and fears, and found each other in the process. Their love, built on a foundation of honesty and mutual respect, was a testament to the power of believing in something greater than oneself. And as they embraced their future together, they knew that they had truly found their happily ever after, not in the grand gestures or perfect events, but in the quiet, unwavering connection they shared.